there's a video that Bakr shared with me, and this segment is based around this video, how Peter Thiel is destroying democracy, right? Now, this is a conversation that I think is going to be very enjoyable for our audience, very educational for me, to be honest. I was completely aloof and oblivious to the fact that there's an entire movement in the USA to destroy democracy. That's something that I couldn't have even imagined. Was like democracy is like, it's literally, there's an author, I think a European guy, he wrote a book called Democracy, the Failed God. It's something that it's like a god for them. It's like, it's a religion for them. Like, you talk about democracy, bro, that's it. They put you in jail over this stuff. But now you've got Peter Thiel, who's openly talking about dismantling democracy. Now, Bakr, can you explain to us a bit about who this guy is and what the conversation is, inshallah, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah, so he's one of these tech bro billionaires, and he's very involved in the government. CIA, I think, seeded his company at a very, very early stage, right? And,
is this PayPal or Palantir?
Palantir,
okay.
And it's, got contracts with the IDF, contract with the US government, CIA, ICE, FBI, all these government agencies. So he's very, 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 like as people say, the dark state or the deep state.
Yeah.
If it's not like some hidden conspiracy, it's these guys. It's these guys that run all these technologies, that are funding the governments and so on and so forth. Regarding this story, what shocks me is like it took you guys this long to realize that democracy doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's funny because some people watching this, they're going to be shocked, like, what, democracy? They're attacking democracy? But for me, it's like, right, it took you this long to finally realize democracy doesn't work. Like, how is it that the average Joe could be a crack addict, heroin, has the same vote as in terms of choosing who to lead, as a PhD doctor, like as a billionaire, businessman who spent his whole life buying, trading, understands how the world works, how these things, it just doesn't make any sense. It reminds me, actually, there was a clip, one of these game show, TV shows, where basically they get children and they give them two options. So like, I remember there was a clip, there was a little girl and they made her choose, said the first option was a trip to Dubai for you and your whole family.
Okay.
And the second option was a giraffe teddy bear.
No way.
And she chose the giraffe teddy bear.
Really? How old is she?
She's a little girl.
How old is she?
I don't know, maybe like 9, 10, something like that. But maybe younger. But the point is, for someone that doesn't know, like your average labor worker, not to put down labor workers, but for them to have to choose and make a decision about something that's so great, that's so, such massive impact, it doesn't even make any sense. The issue, though, which is inshallah what we're going to come to, is who do you put in charge? Because that flips the whole script. That either is going to exponentially increase the fitna and fasad on this earth, or it's going to cause a great amount of khair to come.
And also what governs your morality.
And what governs your morality.
Because right now, democracy, morality is regulated apparently through the people.
Through the people.
But here, it's through a guy or a group of guys. But what is it that they're going to... And we'll dive into this, inshallah ta'ala. Sheikh Ebrahim, I want to bring you in, man. What's your thoughts on this?
Sheikh, this is quite interesting. And I've seen it for many years, this trend where corporations or institutions had a bigger say into government.
Yeah.
So one was when they were passing certain laws, environmental laws, things like that. A lot of those would be in favor of those corporations that had the ear of the government at the time. I mean, look at the current example on the table. I believe this sugar tax, there's a new version of it, an upgrade of it coming up in 2026 in some countries. If you look at that entire agenda, it's not, so the pretext or the argument for sugar tax is we want to keep you healthy. And that's why, to prevent you from drinking so much of sugar, we would penalize you on that in a financial penalty, in a higher costed product. And so the automatic result would be you'd consume less. But that certainly was not the aim. People, I mean, it's pre-formulated, the whole shift. But it was actually a particular industry that wanted to benefit out of more funding and things like that. So they brainwashed entire boards or governments to adopt something just so that they could get more funding to run their organizations.
And who are those guys?
It's a sugar of I'll have to check it out, but there is some fact to that. I'll have to check it up and give you the exact name. But it's a lobby.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, so we've seen this. We've seen this happen time and again.
Industrial military complex, right? They cause wars so they can make money, sell weapons. Yep.
And what's increasing now is the techno bros, as call it, the techno state. And I don't say democracy has failed, but I think it was hijacked.
By who?
By the sort of deep state. And I think last week we touched on this. So something's gonna fail and say, so this is no longer sustainable when it comes to debt, etc. And here's the solution, what we had in mind, a CBD or something like that. Very similarly, democracy or rule of law, how it was recognized globally for centuries, is no longer what is applicable. And here's the solution. And the solution is to centralize power into the hands of a few. Those particular individuals or group of individuals would then dictate where you travel, where you live, how you live, where you get paid, how you get paid, what currency becomes dominant globally, or what is acceptable. And where it gets very dangerous, you guys were talking about the morality issue. Most of them have no moral compass. The money is the god. And it's honestly very, very dangerous if this comes into fruition, because it would literally be free fall.
Yeah, interesting. So, so then that begs the question, right? Why do you think, Sam, they are interested in politics? Like, as in, why are they not just politics? Why are they interested in power at this level? Because they've got money, they can carry on making money, but this is like an extra headache now.
Yes, that's exactly the question I was going to actually ask you, brothers. Where do you think, what's the end game here? Do they want more money? Do they want power? Do they want to control the world? Like, what's their motivation?
They're just serving mandates. They're just advancing mandates that they are told to advance. It's simple. If you look at Silicon Valley and its initial stages, it was actually funded by the Pentagon, like with Pentagon money. And until today, the Pentagon, the U.S. military, is the biggest funder for most of the projects. And this is not me claiming something. This is their own. Steve Blank wrote a book about that, how these tech companies, more or less, are owned or directly influenced in one way or another through complex structures and companies by the U.S. military to advance specific agendas and execute specific mandates. It's called, one second, I wrote it down because I was trying to remember the name of the book. His Unit X. Unit X. That's the book. And it's just answers pretty much.
So I believe that's a part of the story, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that, right? I actually believe it's that thing of what came first, chicken or the egg, right? Or rather, sorry, not necessarily. You know when you breed a monster, when you create a monster, Frankenstein, you lose control of him. I think that's what's happened. I feel like it initially started off with those guys funding them 100%. The proof is in the pudding there. But I feel like these guys became too powerful, man. They became too powerful.
Sorry to interject. So initially, I think the hunger, we were having this discussion earlier. Hunger is wealth.
Yeah.
The greed for money. And then it becomes the greed for power.
Yes.
A lot of them are now in that stage where it's all about power. They've said power is more intoxicating than wealth.
100%.
And at a point beyond this, and where some of these guys are now dabbling in with this transhumanism and things like that, it's immortality.
Yeah, they want immortality, yeah?
Immortality.
Yeah, Peter Thiel says that.
I think that's the X.
So that's one of them. That's one of them. So I'll tell you, because I kind of wanted to see where all of this stuff is coming from. So Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, many of these guys, you know where they get a lot of their ideology from? It's from a guy called Curtis Yarvin. You heard of him?
No.
Curtis Yarvin.
Curtis Yarvin.
He's a guy who's anti-democracy, believes that democracy is
Yeah, yeah. This guy.
So you're saying the Vice President of the United States,
Yes.
J.D. Vance,
Yeah.
gets his inspiration from
Curtis Yarvin. He mentions it publicly. Clearly.
anti-democracy guy?
An anti-democracy. It's called neo-reactionary movement. The neo-reactionary movement. So interesting, right?
It's crazy shit.
Interesting. So basically, this guy came from like some communist Soviet state. Was from like a wealthy family. I said nothing about it. They're all wealthy. They all come from Peter Thiel, wealthy family, wealthy South African family. And he basically starts this blog under a pseudonym called Mobug or something like that. And he's writing, and you know how you have like niche groups? Like, for example, Muslim entrepreneurs watch this podcast. It's a very niche group, right? Total addressable market is very small, but there's no one else that talks their language, their lingo. So they watch us. And I guess what we say, would spread. The narrative spreads amongst this crowd. So he started a blog that was targeting guys that were in Silicon Valley way back in the early 2000s. And he was a big shot because he had an exit, or, you know, he had some big moves.
Basically, all guys in Silicon Valley.
Say that again?
All guys in Silicon
Yes.
Valley. Okay.
And he has been bleeding this stuff since back then, right? So Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, these guys have been indoctrinated by this guy's ideology since the early 2000s.
Wow.
But they just never talked about it publicly. And he himself, by the way, all of his stuff is out. Now the thing is, you see, and this is the reason why money can be good, money can be bad. Deny whether you like it or not, but money puts you in a position of strength, right? Where these guys are saying a statement, bro, you would be put in jail for Allah knows how long. Like, let's get rid of democracy. Bro, they are just saying it so calmly, laughing, smiling, talking about it on podcasts. We want to get rid of democracy. This guy, Curtis Yarvin, he actually says that poor people are biofuel.
What does that mean?
Sorry, biodiesel. They're
cheap fuel.
They're cheap fuel. You can waste them. Burn them, waste them, use them. It's just human capital when you're done with it. And they adhere to something called the libertarian ideology, right? So libertarian ideology is basically like extreme capitalism, right? It's like
Total freedom, basically.
total freedom. Don't touch the market.
Yeah.
Just whatever makes money. Whatever makes money. And this is basically the ideology that the apartheid was built on. So Peter Thiel, there's a book written about his life called The Contrarian, right? I haven't read it, but that video that Bakr shared, the guy, you know, breaks it from that book. Very interesting book. I really want to read it. The guy I want to just obsess over him for a bit, just to kind of understand. But this guy grew up in apartheid South Africa. He was influenced with the apartheid, as in he was pro-apartheid. When he moved to Stanford, he started the Stanford Review. He's clearly promoting libertarian views and like extreme views in line with like the pro-white stuff. Yeah, he started the Stanford Review, by the way, his own publication. And subhanAllah, this guy, you know, then started reading this guy's stuff. Curtis Yarvin was like, this guy talks like me, and they just basically, and think about it, right? These guys have seen the bad side of democracy because of the regulation. Everyone who comes in just puts regulation on you, and they limit your business, they limit your growth. So I feel like it's a combination of, number one, they actually still want to grow their businesses, right? Like one of the reasons why all these guys are funding far-right extremists in the European Union is because they actually want to destroy the European Union, because the European Union has put so many regulations on. You know, they took Elon Musk to court. They've done so much against these guys. So these guys want to now basically dismantle that, because democracy gets in the way of them growing their technology companies. If the kind of stuff that we discuss in this podcast, I'm talking about the tax strategies, the deal structures, the real conversations about building wealth the right way. If this is the kind of stuff that you want to be a part of, then this is nothing. We have an entire private network for high net worth and ultra high net worth Muslims. It's called The Cave. I'm talking about founders who've exited for 8 figures, 9 figures. I'm talking about fund managers with unicorns inside of their portfolio. Operators who've built billion-dollar companies without a single penny of riba. So what you hear on this podcast, that's just the surface. Inside the cave, you get the conversations that don't get recorded, the introductions that don't happen anywhere else. A dedicated concierge who finds the exact advisor, tax advisor, lawyer, operator, or even Sheikh scholar who specializes in Islamic finance that you need within 24 hours, inshallah ta'ala. So if this is of interest to you, you can apply, inshallah ta'ala. You can only get in through application or invitation. And most of the applications, they are declined. And the reason for that is because we realize that an effective network is not built based on who's in it, but actually who's not in it. So we really try to protect the integrity and the quality and the standard of those that are inside. So if you feel like you belong, you're a high net worth, ultra high net worth Muslim operator, inshallah ta'ala, and you want to be a part of something like this, then you can apply now at the link below in the description, inshallah ta'ala. And hopefully we see you on the other side. With that said, let's get back into the podcast. So there's that, there's the immortality thing, they want to live forever. And I also think it's a huge thing inside of themselves that they're trying to cure. For example, Peter Thiel was bullied, man. The guy was bullied as a kid. And the guy's gay. I don't know if you know.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's gay. And
is he open about it?
So that's the thing, right? So it was like an open secret in Silicon Valley. And then there was this media company, begins with G. I forgot what it's called. But he used to just attack Silicon Valley guys and expose them. Frauds and scams. So they actually released an article like, yo, Peter Thiel's actually gay. And he got so offended. And there's a book that Ryan Holiday writes about how this guy spent like 8 years planning to destroy this publication company. And when he found the opportunity to basically support a lawsuit against them, he destroyed them and wiped them out. But the whole book is about how this guy is just, bro, he doesn't forget.
So Ryan Holiday, the Daily Stoic.
Daily Stoic.
Oh, wow.
So he wrote a book.
Very deep.
Yeah. It's very, very, very deep. He waited like 10 years to destroy these guys. 2016 was dismantled that organization. So point being is that I think there's a lot at play here. Like as in they worship money, they worship themselves, this inferior. Remember, yeah, these guys are nerds. You're a gay guy that got bullied. You got bullied at school. You never fit in. You're a misfit. Now I have all your data, bro. Payback, bro.
An ex-Silicon investor once told me that lives here in Dubai, a big guy. He told me that every CEO that I've ever met in any of these big companies always has some issue. If you find exactly what it is and capitalize on it, you can get him to like do whatever you want. So he told me they always have some sort of polarity that you just need to find. Either they were abused or they were secretly gay or they have some obsession with something. He says you just have to look for that little weakness and just capitalize on it so you can get them to like operate like this guy just uncontrollably. Like they'll just keep on driving.
The issue is though, is that now they're in such a position of strength, bro. Like as in technology runs the world. Do you know what I'm saying? And everyone has just given up all of the data, bro. We've given all of it. You know, I just found out today. I was speaking to Amin, our CMO, and the guy, Brother Mohamed, who does our ads. And they were telling me that, you know, when you're on Instagram, this is not a conspiracy. This is a matter of fact. The camera is on. And it's observing your facial expressions. And as you're watching a video, do you laugh? Are you sad? And it's recording that data, bro.
Oh. Even recently, Meta, they, by default now, AI, they feed your DMs into AI. So you can't opt out if you want to, but the only way to opt out is on desktop. And it's like hidden under 5 different menus you have to go through to opt out of it. You can't opt out on your phone. But yeah, all of your DMs are being fed into AI. You know, I was actually thinking about this. Like, there have been people who have been immensely wealthy, in the past, right? Like Rockefeller and, you know, even before him, like so many different people. Why did it never get to this point? And I think one of the reasons is just technology. Like now that you can sit, like press a button in one place and someone on the other side of the world will die. Like you never had that ability before in the past. People had immense wealth, but you don't know what's happening on the other side of the world. Now there's a camera, you can see exactly what's happening on the side of the world. You can influence anywhere at any time.
I think the key word here is data. That's the most powerful thing. So, for example, there has always been these rooms behind the rooms, behind curtains, like even the World Economic Forum. You know, it sounds like such a government organization, right? World Economic Forum. It's not a government organization. It does not fall under any jurisdiction. Nothing. It's basically was formed by, I think, Charles Schwab. And basically, he called meetings of all the wealthy people in a city in Switzerland. I think it's called Danvaux or Davon. They all gathered, and these guys had so much wealth and influence. They're having politicians come, like all the men's of the world come. And they would dictate, okay, what's our next year's thing? So they came up with the climate change, the global warming.
That's true.
All of these, World Economic
Davos.
Like, so what's the thing? Then Davos,
Yes.
Yes.
World Economic Forum, it still happens till now.
Yeah.
They come up with it?
It's a rich boys club.
Yeah, it's a rich boys club.
Yep.
Do you know many of the current elected presidents today,
Yep.
like Macron, etc., are Davos boys?
Yes.
Backed by them.
This is why you should be in the cave.
Yeah.
This is literally,
And
this is the Muslim rich boys club.
the way they came up with the name, Shah.
Yeah.
Any man would think it's another WHO, World Health Organization,
World
or
Economic
CBD,
Forum.
World Economic Forum. Like, it
Sounds like a
some
non-profit.
sort of like non-profit government. It has nothing to do with government,
rich boys
nothing.
club, yeah.
But they control a lot of things. But the thing here is that organization, I think the key difference is that point, they did not have data. These are not tech bros.
Yeah.
There are probably tech bros part of it, but they're not founded by tech bros. These are finance guys, rich guys. But now tech guys, that's their MO. They have data. If they're seeing your facial expressions while you're scrolling, oh my God, man.
But it is what the guy said, the obsession after they have all this data and power stuff is like, what's next? And who was it that said immortality was...
yes,
yeah,
brother.
was brother. And he really hit the nail on the head because the biggest champion of immortality right now is Brian Johnson.
Yes.
Right? He actually wrote it on the tweet the other day.
Really?
That he wrote it. Yeah. He's like, my plan is to be immortal. That's what he wrote in a tweet. So basically, this is the guy that sold Vimeo for I don't know how many $100 million, and now he's spending all these millions every year
he
to
sold
reverse
Vimeo.
to reverse aging. So I actually saw him here at an event. It's called Actually Summit last year. So it was him, but the entire event was about longevity. And everybody that was there was a crypto boy. So for me, I didn't understand the connection. But then I swear, it's fascinating when you think about the connection. And then I asked one crypto boy, and I'm like, why is it the longevity summit, but it's all crypto boys? He's like, because all these people that get all this money and this influence so fast, the next thing they think about is how can I live longer? So all these people that made their money overnight, all they're obsessed about is just living longer and just, and in a way, being immortal.
Two things. So it's immortality in terms of wealth and life.
Yes, yeah.
So the Sheikh
Go on, please mention it.
Shajaratul Khuld wa mulki la yabla is an endless life and a never-ending kingdom.
And that's the thing that Shaitan tempted, he tried to tempt Adam alayhi salam with, right?
You know, something that comes to my mind is...
Before
The biggest temptation.
yeah. I want you to just one quick thing I just want to mention in case any Muslims are confused here and maybe think, hey, wait, is the guy going to become immortal? Allah said, نَحْنُ قَدَّرْنَا بَيْنَكُمُ الْمَوْتَ وَمَا نَحْنُ بِمَسْبُوقِينَ. Allah said, we've decreed death for you and we have yet to be challenged. There's not a person who ever outlived death. There's not a person who came except he died, and it's never going to change. Just know that. Go on.
You know, as Muslims with morals and ethics, how do you compete with people who have no morals and ethics, who who take your data in ways that are even illegal and they don't care, right? Like these people, for them, as you said, profit is king, profit is God. So for them, all they will do it. Like, it reminds me of like companies like DuPont. You know, a few decades ago, they were producing chemicals that were causing cancer.
Yeah.
And then and there were internal memos within the company decades before they finally had to get rid of it, showing that they themselves knew it was causing cancer, but because it was so much profit, like the use case was they were using it on tanks, they were using it in houses, Teflon pans, frying pans, non-stick pans, they were using it in all these materials, and it was producing hundreds of billions of dollars for them. They knew it, but they didn't care, because for them, as you said, biodiesel, these people, it's biodiesel. These are people. At the end of the day, we don't care. we're just here AI trying to make money. So if you were a competitor, you found the same product and you say, okay, look, I'm gonna do the ethical thing. I'm not gonna use this anymore. They're gonna blow you out of the water. With the whole data thing, if a Muslim today comes up and says, I'm gonna create social media, but there's no half naked dancing girls on there, there's no rage bait, it's not gonna get mass adoption. How are you gonna compete? How can a Muslim with morals and ethics compete with these people?
So the answer here, because I had this conversation with my Sheikh today, I was very down. This whole conversation was depressing me so much. Right, there's stuff
Why?
we haven't,
Why though?
bro. For this point,
Yeah.
right? It's like how. Okay, so before I answer the question, there was another point I'll mention it now, just to show you the severity of this. Yeah, but Sam said that their biggest weapon is data. I think it goes over people's heads. Let me break it down. Right, not trying to compare these people to Allah in any shape or form, but just so you understand. You know, the greatest and scariest reminder you can ever give to a person is Allah is watching. Mohamed Amin is a great scholar. He said there is unanimous consensus amongst the scholars that there's nothing that's more powerful of a reminder. Allah is watching you, bro. Does that make sense? So being seen, to have Allah has knowledge. When we talk about data, Allah's got. If you can say, if it's befitting to say, if underlined, Allah's got the most data, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's got the most knowledge. Allah said, I know your fingerprint to the point where I will resurrect you to your exact fingerprint. And no two people have the exact same fingerprints. Allah says, I know, in Surah Qaf, I know, you know when your body decomposes inside of the earth and the worms eat your flesh and then that worm goes into different parts of the earth and that worm dies or that worm gets eaten by a chicken who then becomes decomposed somewhere else in the world. Allah says, I know exactly where the juices of your body have gone into the earth and I'll bring them out from those exact same grains and bring them back together on the Day of Judgment. So the fact that Allah is watching you, He sees you, He knows you in the darkness of the night, He knows what you think, He knows your thoughts, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's really, that's control. He can control us, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in such a way, He knows us because He's watching us. So being seen, to know that everything you do is tapped, everything you know is recorded, angel on the right and the left, it's all being documented, is the scariest reminder. Now, of course, people forget about Allah, right? They forget that Allah is watching. The Iman, it goes up and down, which is why it's so important to learn about Allah, learn Aqeedah, learn Allah's names, His attributes. It's so important, this subject, you just don't forget it. But we forget, right? We forget. Which is why people then, for them, they start to fear the CCTV camera and the policeman who drives past and so on and so forth. Now, what do you do now when these guys have data on everything? There's nothing like this in humanity has ever existed where you know, put my facial expressions as I'm on a phone, you know my DMs, you know what's in my... You can stop my money. Like, you know, I can't lie. Prior to this, I've been like so bullish on Bitcoin. And I'm not saying I'm not bullish on Bitcoin anymore. But right now, bro, I'm not thinking you'll put all my money in Bitcoin. I'm thinking, well, let me gather gold. Because you lot can stop that at any moment. Like any moment you can stop the transfer of my wealth. Bro, people are paying me money for a service. And then what? The payment provider is blocking it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like standard practice. Yeah. So I'm saying they are, and with Palantir, bro, like it's a very sinister, like, product, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? They use data to kill you. They use data to arrest you. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is it's very depressing. But to answer your question, Akhi, like as a Muslim, like how do you on it? The Sheikh said something deep to me. He said, you know, Imran, goes throughout our history, there's been very few moments where Muslims have actually been stronger. It's actually, as a matter of fact, like the Prophet came and then the Ummah grew to its biggest, I think in 93 after Hijrah, and then from that point it started to decline. Then it's had moments of strength, here and there, but it's never gone back to what it was. And you know, there's been every so often there's a stronghold, there's strength, there's stability. But Allah Azza wa Jal, this is part of His Sunnah. This is part of the way that Allah does things, that He tests you with the trial and the tribulation of the tyrant, with the trial and the tribulation of the oppression, right? And you have to be patient through it. And then who takes retribution? Allah Himself. Look at this ayah in Surah An-Naml. Allah says, وَمَكَرُوا مَكْرًا. They plotted a plot. وَمَكَرْنَا. And we planned. مَكْرًا. A plan. وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. And they didn't even feel it. They didn't even feel it. And as I'm saying this, just remember a few years ago, a germ that you couldn't even see with the naked eye brought all of these guys to their knees. The whole world was closed, right? So no one knows what Allah is planning in the back end, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah says, فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ مَكْرِهِمْ. Go and look what the outcome of their planning was, right? أَنَّا دَمَّرْنَاهُمْ وَقَوْمَهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Allah said, I pulverized them, and I pulverized the entire nations. فَتِلْكَ بُيُوتُهُمْ خَاوِيَةٌ بِمَا ظَلَمُوا إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. Every single nation that came, that did this, was destroyed. Was destroyed. So that's where we have that with Allah. Allah Azza wa Jalla. Remember what Allah said about Ad? You know what Allah said about Ad? التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد. No one like them ever existed before them. They used to build inside them. They were so strong and powerful. What was the outcome? إرم ذات العماد. Right? They were just flipped like palm trees. Flipped on the hey, Allah Azza wa Jal. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do. We don't compromise our values. We don't compromise our morals. We do what we can, and we should do the best that we can. We should do ihsan, do business, invest, fear Allah Azza wa Jal, grow, save, protect our families. Do what we can. But there's going to come a point, as the sunnah of Allah, Allah is going to step in himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and deal with them.
Oh, go on.
Again, maybe a couple of things before
Please.
question. So, one is, Sheikh, what you have, and from previous, it's history repeating itself, especially with your example of Qomehal. You have men who try to play God.
Yeah.
And that is when there's retribution.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
They progress, or they get power to a certain point where they believe they are in control.
Yeah.
Pharaoh.
And Fir'aun,
Qarun, Abu Jahl.
many in the past, right? And many think so they get to that point, and then they will be dealt with. So we have that protection. But to answer your question on a business angle, look, there's a lot. Businesses, especially in this environment, these conglomerates, or the individuals at this level, is not as even as neat and clean as we're talking about it. It's really filthy. But as Sheikh said, you stick to your fundamentals, never compromise. And from Sheikh, you have Allah on your side.
Of course. Yeah.
There's nothing that they could do. There's, David and Goliath, Dawood, Jalut, whatever you may use. And history has shown many, many, many times.
Battle of Badr, Battle of Uhud.
Smaller entities with the Battle of Badr, etc. Smaller entities would outcompete these giants. But just sticking to their fundamentals. As Muslims ourselves, our own history has proven it to us. And in my business, as an example, we've had, we competed against a giant in Coca-Cola. Alhamdulillah, we were still able to survive. There were times they would outspend us, outmatch us in volume, value. And you had, literally, there was no answer. You go to any tactician or any strategist, there's literally no answer on the table, but you survive.
Sheikh, I think you just had a lot of barakah in your business, mashallah. I think that was mainly the success. I think really that was it.
But 100%, that's the hidden...
That's the point.
And it could be the other way around too, right, Sheikh? Like sometimes we might have all the numbers on our side, everything on our side, we still lose.
Yeah.
Because there's no barakah. Allah is not on our side, barakah is not on our side. And it has also happened so many times in our history, right? We had everything, but we still lost.
Actually, this is, speaking of history, this question for anyone that can answer it probably the best way possible. If we had to take Islam's golden age and apply what made them successful and all the principles for success in today's world or context, what do you think those principles are that made them expand so fast and so much and become really, really, really a solid, successful ummah?
Tawheed and Sunnah. I'd say that's primary before everything else.
Like, the Prince of Persia, or the Emperor of Persia, his bracelets were being handed out in the streets of Al-Madinah to barefoot Arab Bedouins. Like, this is not something that human beings can achieve. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't... Look, this is the hidden secret. They weren't trying to do it for the dunya. They weren't actually... And this is why we say, like, always have a greater vision, a greater goal that goes beyond just, your material realm. They literally were chasing the akhirah. They wanted to make Allah happy, right? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they also were not lazy. They were hardworking men. They did things to perfection,
Yeah.
Excellence.
طيب. So let's move on. Alhamdulillah. I think it's just important for people to be cognizant of these things, to learn, to know. We haven't even scratched the surface on this topic, but it's like
there's a lot we cannot talk about.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it.
But even just the one thing I would say to people is that we need to understand that the problems that we deal with are a lot more complicated than we make them out to be. Everyone is talking, everyone's just got a mouthpiece, they want to contribute. It's the problems.
Yeah.
Brothers, just study, learn, look like as in look what's happening in the world around you, and actually I can't help myself, I have to say this, the last point. For the Muslims that still think it's good to vote, who still think that there's hope.
Who still think that's what, Sheikh?
They still encourage to vote. The election's going to come. Now they're going to say, vote. They don't realize, brother, it's not a vote. It's not a voting game.
It's a rigged game.
It's a rigged game, bro.
I think even if the founding fathers of America, if they were to look at what it is today, I think even they would be like, what the hell is this, man? This is exactly what we tried to fight against. This is why we set up the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and all these other things.